in the world. It's so nice to be back. I wanted to catch up and share something that is affecting, I think, every single one of us, and that is technology. How we use technology, how it shows up in our life, and is technology running our life nicely, or is it ruining our life? So this is the theme for today's session. I'm so glad we're all here. Chime in, make sure you can hear me. Somebody just drop me a comment, let me know you can hear me. I'm so glad to be here to discuss this topic, which has been a real pain for a lot of people. You know, isn't it the case that technology can really help us, but it can also hinder us? Have you had that? And most of us can't do without our smartphones these days or our computers. I mean, it's a part of society. It's a part of our daily living. But for so many people, it can become a distraction. For so many people, it can hurt them, harm them in some way. And so this is the challenge, my friends, to find a balancing point for technology. What can we do about it? I'd love you to share your comments here. Do check in and let me know what it is for you that technology does. And what is it for you that technology is preventing? Because we see technology as an enabler, and it should be. You know, using technology, gadgets, devices, TV, media. I mean, we rely on it for our education, our entertainment. For some of us, we rely on it for our enlightenment. Some sort of role technology plays in our life. But the question is it always a healthy role? Or could there be more? So, that being said, let's get straight underway. My name is Prash Katecha. I am the founder and CEO of Stress to Success and Urban Spirituality, also the podcast by the same name. I am a conscious leadership and well-being expert, and I love helping people through coaching and training on their journeys, both their professional and personal journeys, to really help optimize the way they show up in their work and at home by harnessing skills from a whole bunch of things like emotional intelligence, spirituality, personal development, and a whole bunch of other skills from the corporate and efficiency arena. And so we want to talk about technology here. I'm so glad you're all here. So let's get straight down to it. Technology, guys, technology. So I want to start with this little story, what happened for me yesterday and what segued and what caused this talk. So I accidentally dropped my phone in a really funny angle with an acceleration from my hand, and it in such a strange and odd way that my top end Galaxy S10 Plus phone, my prized possession, right? Because it's got the vocal blur and it's got a whole bunch of tech I use. That device fell in such a way that my screen just went, and the phone was unusable. So in an instant, I completely lost the ability to use key things that I use, my WhatsApp and various other things that were on the device that I absolutely and urgently need on a day-to-day basis. I rely on these things. Everything was gone. So this became a real challenge. And I suddenly thought that my life was over. I thought, oh no, what am I going to do? Everything's over. My life's ended. I can't reach anybody. I can't reach on WhatsApp. I have people around the world who reach out to me on WhatsApp, different time zones, and people I work with. And now I can't reach them. They can't reach me, because those of you who use WhatsApp for web, you'll know that you can't use your WhatsApp on your computer if the WhatsApp on your phone isn't activated and validated. So I thought I was screwed, you know. So I suddenly realized I couldn't access a whole bunch of recordings I've got, you know, audios that I've got, videos that I needed to record. Everything I rely on this phone, and I was completely thrown. And so it really flummoxed me yesterday, and I didn't know what to do. And in that panic, in that, oh, my life is over, that over exaggeration, that dramatization, that overreaction, I realized that technology had taken over my life in that area. Technology was ruling me. I wasn't in charge of the tech. Technology had completely gotten a hold of me so badly that I felt like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't function without this. So I don't know if you've had that in your life. Have you had that with some kind of gadget or technology? Or maybe it's some sort of like without a TV, like you think, oh my God, I don't have a TV for 2 weeks. My life's over. What am I going to do? What program am I going to watch? How am I going to switch off and occupy myself at night? We've all had this, right? In some way, shape or form. So for me, it was this phone. And I tried to figure out, well, how am I going to get around it? And once the overreaction had happened. I took a couple of deep breaths, practiced the whole well-being thing that I teach, right? Practice what I preach. Took some deep breaths, got mindful and said, is my health in danger? No. Is my physical health, emotional health, mental health, is it fine? Is it sane? Yes, it is. Is it going to end it? I'll work around it. I'll find a way to work around it. Like, can I find a way to work? Email. I started connecting up emails, emailing people. Found an alternative phone, see if I could get away with it and just get the SIM card in. I couldn't find an alternative phone, so there was a problem. So I resolved there and then that I'm going to live the day without technology. I went over to Westfield in Stratford to get it repaired. So basically, I had no device yesterday and today. And it really taught me how we sometimes overly rely on technology. And so through that lesson, I wanted to share some tips that I've discovered and that I've used in my own life and how I used to overcome it in the bid to help all of us with this. And let me start in that by discussing what the key signs might be. So some of the signs that might happen if you're facing technology overload, or if technology is playing too big a role in your life, if you feel that you're overly reliant on it, maybe even, you're not just reliant, but maybe you're starting to get addicted to technology. Maybe you're getting obsessed by technology. Any of these things can happen. Now, these are the challenges. So how do you do that? How do you handle it? Let's look for the signs. Sign number one, I put together, you're overly reliant on technology for passing your time. Right? So that could be playing games on your phone, on your PlayStation or your device. It could be binge watching on your favorite TV show. It could be social media. Any and all of these means that you might be using in order to pass your time, right? So we all watch TV and we all have technology to a degree to pass our time, whether it's music or whatever we use. But when that technology becomes the primary way through which we pass our time, through which we have as a hobby, now there's a problem. That's one sign to watch out for, that you might be overly reliant on technology for passing your time too much of the time. A second one, that you use technology as a distraction or an avoidance mechanism. What I mean by that is there may be an emotion or a habit or a nagging thought or even a major task that you need to get done, but you, instead of doing the task that you need to get done or dealing with that thing or speaking with that person, having that difficult conversation, you're using technology to distract you. Does that make sense? So technology becomes a procrastination tool. Without sometimes realizing that you're using it to procrastinate, you might sell a ticket to yourself in your brain to justify it, but you end up using technology to procrastinate. And that means that you're doing something in there to distract yourself as an avoidance mechanism from dealing with that emotion, that thought, that recurring habit pattern, or that person, or that task that you need to address. Does that make sense? Then the third sign that technology may be an over-reliance in your life. The third sign is you use technology with the right intentions, but it gets the better of you too many times. With the right intentions, but what happens there is you end up using it in such a way that you got too many notifications, right? You got too many alarms, too many invitations coming in from WhatsApp channel, from email. You've got to-do lists that are coming in from different angles and different sides. You've got gadgets to play with. You've got too many devices. You've got too many apps maybe. Or maybe you've got too many learning curves and tools to learn. Facebook, Insta, Netflix. And you're going to figure out Monday.com or Trello for your productivity. Now you've got Clubhouse and TikTok. So suddenly you've got this platform and technology overwhelm that is now distracting you or preventing you from being as productive and efficient as you could be with the technology that you use. So these are the signs to watch out for, some good signs to see if technology is getting the better of you. Now, what can we do about it? Before we get on to that, let's look at some of the symptoms. I think it's important to recognize the symptoms. Sometimes we don't associate the symptoms of that technology over-reliance or technology addiction or overload. And because we don't recognize the symptoms, we're unable to treat the cause. We're unable to treat that behavior. So let's look at some of the symptoms so you're aware, you're more conscious, that we all are. For me, for example, yesterday, I was super anxious. I got into anxiety. I got stressed out. I got upset. I thought my life was over. In other words, I'm having an excessively high negative emotional response to the situation, to that technology not working for me or addicted. So that's one thing. Behavioral and emotional symptoms to watch out for. You get easily irritated, right? Overly anxious. You get easily distracted. You can't focus real good on you've got poor focus. You've lost the ability to focus properly. You have an inability to see tasks to completion. You're not able to even see something through the completion because you're so attention deficit now. Information overload, right? There's too much going on. You're saturated. Tasks, you've got too much of the time, right? Now you've got task saturation going on. You can't make decisions real well because you've got so many things coming on different sides. Now you've got decision fatigue. We call that in productivity. Relationship deterioration. Maybe at home, you're not getting on that well with your family or your loved one, right? You've kind of become a little bit disengaged with them. You don't show those warm emotions. You don't have that loving reciprocal exchange that you maybe once have had because you become disengaged. Maybe they're too much addicted to technology. Maybe you're both sitting there with your phones on WhatsApp and talking, you're not having that conversation. So relationship deterioration at home, at work. I'm talking at work, it could be poor engagement. Maybe you're an employee and you're poorly engaged at work. You've kind of become a bit disengaged because of too much technology or reliance on it. You'd rather write an email than go speak to somebody. Of course, we have to by circumstances sometimes, but you'd rather write an email or a WhatsApp and have a good old-fashioned chat. Or maybe if you're a leader, a manager in your organization, maybe your teams have become disengaged because of too much tech. They're zoomed out, they're conference called out, they're videoed out. So these are some of the symptoms to watch out for with regards to technology overwhelm or technology addiction. So, before health signs, right? How could I forget? Sleep, inability to have clear thinking, weight and diet fluctuations, right? You're comfort eating, you're eating too. Maybe your weight is fluctuating, headaches, migraines, other neurological disorders. These are all signs that somebody may have an unhealthy relationship with technology, technical devices, gadgets, watching TV, excessive addiction to binge watching related. By tech, I don't just mean devices, right? And TVs, TV shows, programs, whatever it is. So, for me, and what's worked for some of my clients. So I coach teams in organizations who I coach. They've taken on board some of these practices and it's helped them. So I'd love to share some of these with you. These are some of the things that I've shared with my clients and teams. Let's look at these. Number one, enforcing technology curfews, right? Some kind of lockdown experience right now. Now, some of us have a curfew, for example. In India, they have certain curfews. You can't go out after a certain time. So think about enforcing your own technology curfews. A technology curfew, for example, no TV, no phone, no this, no that, no tech or TV before 8 o'clock in the morning, no tech or TV after 8 in the evening. Or maybe it's you can watch TV, but you don't have any tech, no devices, right? So that's an example of a technology curfew. Another idea, you can go old school with your work practices. Go into diaries, filofaxes. Guys, you remember filofaxes? If you're old enough to remember filofaxes in the 80s, right? They were a thing. Get into your diaries. Go back and pick up a good old-fashioned diary. I've got mine right here. Pick up a diary. Start stuff down. Don't rely so much on that technology. Maybe that's, see, here's the thing: when you're paying your fees now, if you got an old way, and this is what it's a consistent cognitive chain of events, thought stream, right? A certain focus on the task or the thing that we're thinking about or doing or solving, and that can happen when we put technology aside. An old school method like pen and paper, a mind piece of paper, drawing. It really starts to engage our right brain when we do that. So diaries, filofaxes, drawing, writing on paper. Go old school with some of your work practices. Okay. Third tip, connect better. Opt for the human interaction. Obviously many of us are in lockdown. We can't easily associate with people, but where you can. Hey, Zam, Zamihazin, Ronak, what's going on? Zam, Suresh, so great to have so many of you tuned in. Share your comments and thoughts, by the way, guys. So we're going through a list of potential solutions and approaches and tactics to counteract technology overwhelm or addiction or overload. So third one, connect with people wherever you can. Go for walks. If you can go with one person, whatever is socially acceptable and acceptable with you, go for a walk with somebody where you're having a meeting, replace it with them. Listen, if you can't physically go with them, go for a walk anyway and have that meeting on the phone with them. Now you're still using technology, but you're getting out in nature. Does that make sense? So you're looking to ways to connect better with other humans that don't just involve writing an email or a WhatsApp. So that will help you to unplug a little bit from technology, right? Because now you can bring in human emotion in, you can bring intonation in, you can express your facial feelings, and that brings a whole other type of thing, engages your right brain. Okay, right. Fourth tip, detox from the tech, right? This follows on from the technology curfew. Just detox from the tech. How do you detox from the tech? There are apps to do this. There are apps that you can put on your phone that restrict certain social media apps like Facebook, and you just can't plug them. You can't press them. They're just restricted during certain times of the day. So if that helps, use apps to help you to restrict your technology excesses by using an app. You could also put your smartphone in airplane mode. Do not disturb mode, right? Put it, go on disturb mode, go do an hour piece of work, an hour sprint on your work. And when you leave your phone on do not disturb, on silent and so forth, it reduces notifications. You won't watch it. If you're still going to see it and it's a visual thing, you know what? One of my coaching clients puts it in a tin box. He actually has a tin box. His wife gave him an old biscuit box. It's his favorite biscuits. It's empty. Now he puts his phone in his biscuit box and he just puts it away. There was a time in the beginning where he still opened the tin box to pick up his phone and use it, right? The guy was still too addicted. So you know what we agreed him to do? I said, get your teenager, to go and hide the phone somewhere in the house for an hour. So at agreed points in the day, his son would take his phone, put it in a biscuit tin box and hide it somewhere in the house. Now the guy's forced to work for 2 hours with no tech, right? So just get imaginative. Just think out of the box, out of the biscuit tin box. Think out of the box as how you can go into airplane mode or do not disturb mode during certain parts of the day. Here's another one. Do a task while, here's another one. See where you can use other forms. And I'm going to say it this way. There's no easier way to say it. Go old school on your entertainment. So those of you who know Carom, the old Indian board game, go play Carom, go play Monopoly. Find other ways for your entertainment. Board games, reading books. Yes, reading books. Exercise, walking, all the common sense stuff that we do. Cooking. For me as a musician, I love playing piano and singing. So that's my switch off. What we're doing is we're diverting our desire for entertainment, which is perfectly legitimate. Our desire for switching off, for entertainment, for cooling down, for distracting ourselves for a while from the busyness of life, right? All those things can be done in a way which doesn't have to rely on technology or TV or binge watching, right? So we want to get creative and look at different things that we can do. So those are some of the ideas I had. Let us know what ideas you have. There are going to be ideas that you can have. And if you just give a chance, especially where you can, involve your family or the members of your household. If you happen to live with people or if you're as part of a social bubble, a safety, COVID network bubble. Connect with those people, right? Your support bubble, and try and hang out with them. The more you hang out with others and put technology aside, the more your brain allows is permitted to do a certain degree of cognitive refresh, right? Your cognition improves, your focus starts to restore, your resilience, because your stress levels come down when you're engaging with humans, you're doing other stuff, right? All of that comes down. So there's a lot of benefits that come from that when you start to engage in other ways and unplug from that technology overwhelm, right? So in summary, think out of the box, take time out, apply some of these detox techniques, recognize the signs and symptoms that I went through at the beginning of this live, and see if those help you. And if this rings true for you, and if you feel that you could have help and you need that help with your productivity, if you feel your productivity and your time management can do with a boost, do check out the course that I've launched called Procrastination to Productivity. That course, it's a mini course from procrastination to productivity, and it's a fantastic short guide and practical guide to help to shift you from procrastination and distraction to productivity in and out of the workplace. It's great for students, leaders, professionals, and those of you who are working from home and entrepreneurs as well. So do check it out. You can find it at stresstosuccess.co/course/productivity gift. I'll leave a link in the chat here so you can go check it out. Other than that, if you've got any ideas or comments, share them right here so we can all benefit, right? So we can all lift each other up. I bet if each of us came up with an idea, we could have a boatload of ideas to unplug from technology and help one another. So do share your ideas here. If you want to reach out and you want any help with coaching or training for your team or yourself individually, feel free to reach out and we'll see how we can work together and do something good for you and your organization. But look, that's it from me. I hope that's been helpful and valuable. I will catch you on the next live. And I got a couple of surprises in store in the coming weeks with some topics that might cause a little bit of discomfort, but they're definitely there to nourish the soul and the heart and put you back on track. So that's it from me. Have a great week ahead and the weekend. Don't forget to stay tuned in and share and care. Peace out. Namaste. Oh, before I go, don't forget to check out the podcast because we discuss a lot of this in the podcast, Urban Spirituality. You can find the Urban Spirituality podcast by myself, Prash K, on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music now, Audible, Google Podcasts. It's there on your favorite platforms. Check it out because we discuss a lot of these topics and topics closer to the heart in a forum with experts from around the world. And I'm sure you'll love it. I'll catch you all soon. That's it from me. Bye for now.